I'm Mateo, a hunter for 3 years now, and my home is a secluded cabin deep within the perilous forests of the Ural Mountains in Russia. The towering, ancient, and dense woods surrounding my humble abode conceal dangers, both natural and supernatural. I chose this reclusive life after experiencing a series of harrowing events that forever altered my perception of the world. Though my past remains shrouded in mystery, I confront the threats lurking in the forest daily, from ferocious beasts to otherworldly forces that seem to watch from the shadows. My cabin, a modest structure built by my own hands, is both my sanctuary and my prison. It protects me from the outside world, but at the same time isolates me from humanity. The rustic wooden walls bear scars from past battles, with claw marks and dried blood testifying to the countless confrontations that took place there. My life is one of solitude and vigilance, always prepared for the next encounter with the unknown. One fateful day, while tracking game deeper into the forest than usual, I stumbled upon an unfamiliar path. Intrigued, I followed the trail, and I discovered a small, abandoned cemetery hidden beneath the fog. The ancient tombstones were inscribed in Russian, their words barely legible through the moss and decay. One gravestone in particular caught my eye. It bore the ominous inscription, "Here lies the one who should not be awakened." A chill ran down my spine as I read the words. I didn't fully understand their meaning, but I sensed that I had crossed a dangerous threshold. As I made my way back to my cabin, the eerie cemetery lingered in my thoughts. That night, my sleep was plagued by nightmares. I dreamt of a shadowy figure emerging from the cemetery, its eyes glowing red in the darkness, whispering my name with a chilling voice. I awoke in a cold sweat, feeling an unsettling presence in my cabin. Something had changed, and I knew that the horror was just beginning. My life was a tapestry of solitude and survival, each day bringing new challenges that tested my resilience. The forest around me was not just a backdrop, but a living entity, ancient and watchful. The trees whispered secrets through their rustling leaves, and the ground often seemed to shift beneath my feet, as if trying to lead me astray. Despite its dangers, the forest was a place of stark beauty, with its towering pines and the ethereal light filtering through the canopy. My interactions with the forest were a dance of cautious respect and necessity. Every animal I hunted, every plant I foraged, was a testament to my skills and my deep understanding of the wild. My cabin was filled with trophies of my hunts, pelts, antlers, and intricate carvings I made during the long, cold nights. Each item had a story, a memory attached to it, and they served as a reminder of my connection to the land. The mysterious cemetery weighed heavily on my mind. I found myself drawn back to it, unable to resist the pull of its dark secrets. On one of my visits, I encountered an old journal half buried in the dirt near a grave. The journal, though weathered and fragile, contained entries in Russian that I painstakingly translated. It told the story of a family cursed by an ancient spirit that sought vengeance from beyond the grave. As I delved deeper into the journal, I learned about the spirit, an enraged entity that had been wronged in life and now sought retribution. The journal described rituals and incantations meant to appease the spirit, but it also hinted at a dark truth. Once awakened, the spirit could never be truly banished, only temporarily subdued. My nights were restless, plagued by dreams of the spirit and the family that had once lived in the area. I began to notice strange occurrences around my cabin, whispers in the wind, shadows moving at the edge of my vision, and unexplained cold spots. Despite my efforts to stay grounded, fear began to seep into my bones. In the nearby village, I occasionally traded furs and meat for supplies. The villagers were wary of me, sensing the aura of isolation and mystery that surrounded me. An elderly woman named Irina, known for her knowledge of local folklore, warned me about the dangers of disturbing the old cemetery. She told me tales of the spirit's wrath and the devastation it had brought to those who crossed its path. Irina's eyes held a mixture of pity and fear as she spoke, and I realized she believed every word. My isolation began to weigh on me. The forest that had once been a sanctuary now felt like a trap, its trees closing in on me. The journal's ominous warnings echoed in my mind, and I struggled to maintain my sanity. I continued to visit the cemetery, hoping to find answers or some way to put the spirit to rest. But each visit only deepened my dread. Despite the growing terror, I couldn't abandon the life I had built. The forest was in my blood, a part of my very being. I resolved to confront the spirit, to find a way to end its vengeance once and for all. Armed with knowledge from the journal and the strength of my own will, I prepared myself for the battle that I knew was coming. As the days turned into weeks, the ominous presence around my cabin grew stronger. The shadows seemed darker, the nights colder, and the whispers louder. Each day, I felt the spirit's malevolent influence tightening its grip on my life. The journal's entries offered fragmented glimpses into the horrors faced by the family cursed by the spirit, but they lacked a clear solution. My encounters with the supernatural became more frequent and intense. I would awaken to find strange symbols carved into the walls of my cabin, and the feeling of being watched never left me. One night, as I sat by the fire, a sudden gust of wind extinguished the flames, plunging the room into darkness. In the dim light, I saw the faint outline of the spirit, a tall, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes, standing at the edge of the room. It watched me with an intensity that froze my blood, and then, as quickly as it had appeared, it vanished. Determined to find a way to end the spirit's reign of terror, I returned to the cemetery, hoping to uncover more clues. As I examined the tombstones, I noticed a hidden passageway partially obscured by overgrown vegetation. Pushing aside the tangled vines, I discovered a hidden entrance leading underground. With my heart pounding in my chest, I descended into the darkness, my flashlight casting eerie shadows on the stone walls. The passage led to an ancient crypt filled with decaying coffins and crumbling statues. In the center of the crypt stood an altar, upon which lay an old leather-bound book. I carefully opened the book, revealing pages filled with arcane symbols and incantations. The book described a ritual that could bind the spirit, but it required a blood sacrifice, a life for a life. My heart sank as I realized the cost of ending the spirit's vengeance. As I read the ritual's details, I felt a cold hand brush against my shoulder. I turned to see the spirit standing behind me, its eyes burning with rage. The spirit spoke in a voice that echoed through the crypt, revealing its tragic tale. In life, the spirit had been a powerful shaman, betrayed and murdered by those he trusted. In death, he sought retribution, cursing the land and all who inhabited it. The spirit's rage and sorrow resonated with me, but I knew that I could not allow the spirit to continue its vengeful path. I made a solemn vow to put an end to the curse, no matter the cost. As I prepared for the ritual, I gathered the necessary items: herbs, candles, and a ceremonial dagger. Each step brought me closer to the final confrontation, and I steeled myself for what was to come. The night of the ritual arrived, and I returned to the cemetery under the light of the full moon. I stood before the altar, reciting the incantations from the book. The air grew thick with a palpable sense of dread, and the ground trembled beneath my feet. The spirit appeared, its form shifting and flickering in the moonlight, and I felt the weight of its sorrow and anger pressing down on me. With a steady hand, I performed the ritual, slicing my palm and letting my blood drip onto the altar. The symbols on the altar began to glow, and the spirit let out a piercing wail that echoed through the forest. As the ritual reached its climax, the spirit's form began to dissolve, its rage giving way to a mournful acceptance. In the final moments, the spirit whispered a word of gratitude to me before fading into nothingness. The forest fell silent, the oppressive presence lifting as the curse was broken. I stood alone in the cemetery, my heart heavy with the weight of what I had done. I had fulfilled my vow, but at a great personal cost. With the spirit's curse broken, I hoped for a return to some semblance of peace. However, the aftermath of the ritual brought unforeseen complications. The forest seemed quieter, almost mournful, as if it too felt the absence of the spirit. I found myself haunted by memories of the shaman's tragic tale and the weight of my own actions. The lines between hero and villain blurred in my mind, leaving me to grapple with guilt and uncertainty. My solitary life took an unexpected turn when Irina, the elderly woman from the village, arrived at my cabin. She brought news of disturbances in the village, animals behaving erratically, crops failing, and an inexplicable chill settling over the land. Irina believed that the spirit's departure had left a void, and nature itself was struggling to find balance. She urged me to seek out an ancient guardian of the forest, a being of immense wisdom and power known only in legends. Driven by a sense of responsibility, I embarked on a journey to find the guardian. I traveled through treacherous terrain, guided by Irina's cryptic directions and my own instincts. Along the way, I encountered various creatures, some benign, others malevolent, all hinting at the deeper mysteries of the forest. Each encounter added layers to the conflict, revealing that the forest was a complex web of life and magic, far beyond what I had ever imagined. During my quest, I crossed paths with an enigmatic figure named Boris, a reclusive herbalist living on the fringes of the forest. Boris, though initially wary of me, became an unlikely ally. He provided me with rare herbs and potions, sharing knowledge passed down through generations. Boris spoke of the guardian with reverence, describing it as a force of nature that could restore harmony if approached with pure intentions. As I ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, I faced trials that tested my resolve and ingenuity. I encountered a hidden grove, bathed in an ethereal light, where time seemed to stand still. In this sacred place, I performed rituals to commune with the guardian, each one unveiling fragments of its ancient wisdom. The guardian, though never seen directly, communicated through symbols and visions, guiding me towards a deeper understanding of the forest's intricate balance. Subplots intertwined with the main narrative, adding complexity to my journey. I discovered traces of other hunters who had ventured into the forest long before me, each leaving behind clues and warnings. The legacy of these hunters painted a picture of a long-standing struggle between humans and the supernatural, a battle for dominance and coexistence. My role in this struggle became clearer, and I realized that my actions would have far-reaching consequences. As I pieced together the Guardian's guidance, I understood that my final task was not just to restore balance, but to atone for the disruption caused by the spirit's curse. I needed to perform a ritual of healing, one that would require me to embrace the forest's magic fully. With Boris's help, I gathered the necessary ingredients and prepared for the ritual that would define my fate. The pressure mounted as I approached the climax of my journey. The forest, once a familiar ally, now held new dangers and revelations. Each step brought me closer to the truth about my connection to the land and the legacy of the hunters before me. My determination to succeed was tempered by the knowledge that failure could mean not just my own downfall, but the continued suffering of the land and its inhabitants. My journey to find the Guardian, my alliance with Boris, and the subplots that revealed the forest's deeper mysteries all converged, leading me to the final act that would determine the fate of the forest and its inhabitants. The forest grew darker and more foreboding as I approached the location described by the Guardian's visions. The trees seemed to close in around me, and the air was thick with an unnatural silence. My heart pounded in my chest as I made my way to a clearing I had seen in my dreams. It was here, beneath the ancient, twisted oak, that I would confront the final test. The clearing was bathed in the eerie light of the full moon, casting long shadows across the ground. I prepared the ritual site, laying out the ingredients Boris had provided, and arranging the symbols according to the ancient texts. Each step of the ritual was critical, and I could feel the weight of the forest's eyes upon me as I worked. As I began the incantation, the ground beneath me started to tremble and a cold wind swept through the clearing. The Guardian's presence was palpable, and I sensed that this moment would determine not only my fate, but the fate of the entire forest. I continued to chant, my voice steady despite the rising fear within me. Suddenly, The air grew still, and a figure began to materialize before me. It was the Guardian, an ethereal being of immense power, shimmering with an otherworldly light. The Guardian's eyes, deep and ancient, gazed into my soul, and I felt a surge of emotions, fear, awe, and a profound sense of responsibility. The Guardian spoke without words, communicating directly to my mind. It conveyed a message of balance and retribution, explaining that the forest's equilibrium had been disrupted not just by the spirit, but by humanity's encroachment and disregard for the natural order. I realized that my journey was not just about ending a curse, but about restoring harmony to a land that had been deeply wounded. The Guardian revealed the final step of the ritual. I must sacrifice something of great personal value, something that tied me to my old life. My thoughts raced as I considered what I held most dear. I reached into my pack and pulled out a small locket, the only keepsake from my past. A reminder of a time before the horrors, a connection to the family I had lost. With trembling hands, I placed the locket on the altar and completed the incantation. The clearing erupted in a blinding light, and I felt a wave of energy course through me, connecting me to the very essence of the forest. The Guardian's form shimmered and began to fade, but not before imparting a final piece of wisdom. Only through sacrifice and understanding can true peace be achieved. As the light subsided, I found myself alone in the clearing, the locket now a part of the earth beneath the ancient oak. The oppressive weight that had plagued the forest lifted, and a sense of calm settled over the land. I knew that my actions had set in motion a new chapter for the forest, one that required continual respect and stewardship. The villagers noticed the change almost immediately. The erratic behavior of the animals ceased. The crops began to flourish, and the chill that had settled over the land dissipated. Irina visited me to thank me, her eyes filled with a mixture of relief and gratitude. She spoke of the ancient balance and how my actions had not only saved the forest, but also the lives of those who depended on it. Despite the newfound peace, my journey was far from over. The forest, though no longer haunted by the vengeful spirit, still held many secrets and challenges. I pledged to continue my role as a guardian of the land, using the knowledge I had gained to protect and preserve the delicate balance between humanity and nature. The turning point marked a transformation in my life. I was no longer just a hunter. I was a steward of the forest, carrying the wisdom and responsibilities imparted by the Guardian. The sacrifices I had made and the challenges I had faced had forged a new path, one that would guide me for the rest of my days. The aftermath of my encounter with the Guardian brought a period of reflection and healing. The once ominous forest had transformed into a place of quiet beauty and harmony. I felt a profound connection to the land, a bond that had been strengthened through my sacrifices and the knowledge I had gained. However, this newfound peace also brought new challenges as I grappled with the consequences of my actions. The villagers, once wary of me, began to see me in a new light. My role in ending the spirit's curse and restoring balance to the forest earned their respect and gratitude. Irina, the elderly woman who had guided me, became a frequent visitor to my cabin. She shared stories of the forest's history and the delicate balance that had to be maintained. Irina's wisdom became a source of comfort and guidance for me as I adjusted to my new role. Despite the restored peace, I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest still held mysteries yet to be uncovered. The Guardian's final words echoed in my mind, reminding me that true peace required ongoing vigilance and respect for the natural world. I dedicated myself to this mission, using my skills as a hunter and my newfound knowledge to protect the forest and its inhabitants. One day, while exploring a remote part of the forest, I discovered an ancient stone circle hidden beneath layers of moss and vegetation. The stones were carved with intricate symbols, similar to those I had seen in the Guardian's visions. As I examined the stones, I felt a surge of energy, as if the forest itself was communicating with me. I realized that the stone circle was a focal point of the forest's magic, a place where the natural and supernatural worlds converged. My discovery of the stone circle sparked a series of events that tested my resolve and deepened my understanding of the forest's mysteries. I encountered new allies and adversaries, each with their own connection to the land. Some sought to exploit the forest's magic for their own gain, while others, like me, were dedicated to preserving its balance. The most significant of these encounters was with a young woman named Lena, a herbalist and healer who lived on the outskirts of the village. Lena possessed an innate understanding of the forest's magic, and her knowledge complemented my own experiences. Together, we formed a partnership, working to protect the forest from those who sought to harm it. Our bond grew stronger as we faced challenges and uncovered secrets, leading to a deep and abiding friendship. Our efforts were not without opposition. A group of outsiders, drawn by rumors of the forest's magic, arrived with plans to exploit its resources. They were led by a man named Victor, a ruthless businessman who saw the forest as a source of untapped wealth. Victor's presence posed a direct threat to the balance Lena and I had worked so hard to maintain. The conflict with Victor and his followers escalated, culminating in a confrontation at the Stone Circle. Lena and I, with the help of the Guardian's teachings, used our knowledge and skills to protect the forest. The battle was fierce, with both sides employing magic and cunning to gain the upper hand. In the end, my unwavering dedication and the forest's ancient power prevailed, driving Victor and his followers away. The victory came at a cost. The Stone Circle, a symbol of the forest's magic, was damaged in the battle. Lena and I worked tirelessly to repair it, using our combined knowledge and the Guardian's guidance. The process was slow and arduous, but our efforts were rewarded as the circle's magic was gradually restored. The experience left me with a deeper understanding of my role as a guardian. I realized that protecting the forest was not just about confronting external threats, but also about nurturing the land and respecting its ancient wisdom. My journey had come full circle. From a solitary hunter haunted by the past to a protector dedicated to preserving the balance between humanity and nature. Following the intense battle with Victor and his followers, Lena and I focused on rebuilding and healing. The damage to the Stone Circle was significant, but our unwavering dedication to the forest's welfare gave us the strength to persevere. Through our combined efforts, we slowly restored the circle's magic, ensuring the balance that had been so hard one would endure. As the seasons changed, I found myself evolving in ways I had never anticipated. I began to see the forest not just as a place of survival, but as a living entity that needed care and respect. My relationship with Lena deepened, and our partnership became a cornerstone of my new life. Lena's knowledge of herbs and healing complemented my skills as a hunter, and together we formed a harmonious team dedicated to the forest's preservation. Our work was not without its challenges. Despite the apparent peace, there were still occasional threats from those who sought to exploit the forest's resources. Lena and I faced these challenges with resolve, using our unique blend of skills and knowledge to protect our home. Each confrontation reinforced our commitment to the forest and to each other. One evening, as we sat by the fire in my cabin, Lena shared stories of her childhood and the deep connection her family had always felt with the land. She revealed that her ancestors had been guardians of the forest long before my arrival, and she felt a profound sense of responsibility to continue their legacy. I listened, moved by the depth of Lena's commitment and the shared purpose that bound us together. As the months passed, I began to notice subtle changes in the forest. The animals seemed more at ease, the vegetation flourished, and the very air seemed to hum with a renewed vitality. These changes were a testament to the positive impact of our efforts. My sense of purpose grew stronger, and I felt a deep satisfaction knowing that I was contributing to something greater than myself. The forest, in turn, rewarded our dedication with its own form of magic. Lena and I discovered hidden groves filled with rare plants and animals, each one a reminder of the forest's boundless mysteries and wonders. These discoveries reinforced our belief that we were not just protecting the forest, but also becoming an integral part of its intricate web of life. One day, while exploring a particularly dense part of the forest, Lena and I stumbled upon an ancient tree, its bark covered in strange, glowing symbols. As we approached, the tree seemed to radiate warmth and energy. Lena recognized the symbols from her family's old texts and explained that the tree was a guardian spirit, a sentinel watching over the forest for centuries. Lena and I spent hours studying the symbols and learning from the tree's silent wisdom. This encounter marked a turning point for me. I realized that my journey was not just about protecting the forest from external threats, but also about understanding and embracing the deeper connections that bound all living things. The forest had become my teacher, guiding me toward a greater appreciation of life's delicate balance. As winter approached, Lena and I prepared for the harsher conditions, ensuring that our supplies were well-stocked and our cabin fortified. The forest, blanketed in snow, took on a serene and almost ethereal quality. The stillness of winter allowed for introspection and planning for the future. Lena and I spent many evenings discussing our hopes and dreams, both for ourselves and for the forest we had come to love. My transformation was evident in my actions and my outlook on life. I had grown from a solitary hunter driven by survival into a guardian dedicated to protecting and nurturing the forest. My journey had taught me the value of sacrifice, the importance of understanding, and the power of unity. Lena's presence had been instrumental in this transformation, and our partnership stood as a testament to the strength of our shared purpose. The challenges Lena and I faced had forged a bond that was unbreakable. We had become a beacon of hope for the villagers, who looked to us for guidance and protection. The forest, once a place of fear and mystery, had become a symbol of resilience and renewal. As spring arrived, bringing new life and growth, Lena and I stood together at the edge of the stone circle. The forest was a living testament to our efforts, and we knew that our journey was far from over. My heart swelled with gratitude for the lessons I had learned and the future that lay ahead. Together, we would continue to protect and honor the forest, ensuring that its magic and beauty would endure for generations to come. As spring breathed new life into the forest, Lena and I's bond grew stronger, fortified by our shared mission and the challenges we had overcome together. The forest, lush and vibrant, reflected the harmony we had worked so hard to restore. Yet, beneath the surface, I sensed that our journey was nearing a crucial turning point. The equilibrium we had achieved was fragile, and I knew that the final challenge awaited us. Lena and I spent our days tending to the forest, ensuring that its delicate balance was maintained. We continued to learn from the land, discovering new plants and animals, each revealing more about the intricate web of life we were part of. Our nights were filled with discussions about the future and the responsibilities we shared as guardians. One evening, as we sat by the fire, Irina visited us with news that troubled me. She spoke of a group of outsiders, led by a man known only as the Collector, who had been seen in the vicinity of the forest. The Collector was infamous for his ruthless pursuit of rare and magical artifacts, and Irina feared that he had set his sights on the forest's ancient treasures. Lena and I realized that the Collector posed a significant threat to the harmony we had worked so hard to achieve. Determined to protect the forest, Lena and I began to prepare for the inevitable confrontation. We fortified our cabin and stockpiled supplies, knowing that we would need every resource at our disposal. I revisited the stone circle, seeking guidance from the guardian spirit. The visions I received were ominous, filled with images of fire and destruction, but also of resilience and hope. As we prepared, Lena and I also sought to understand the Collector's motivations. We learned that he was driven by a desire for power and immortality, believing that the forest magic held the key to his ambitions. This knowledge steeled our resolve, as we understood that our battle was not just for the forest, but for the very essence of life and balance. The days leading up to the climax were filled with tension and anticipation. Lena and I patrolled the forest, setting traps and creating barriers to slow the Collector's advance. We enlisted the help of the villagers, who shared our commitment to protecting the land. The once wary villagers now stood united, ready to defend their home. On the eve of the anticipated battle, Lena and I shared a quiet moment, reflecting on our journey and the bond we had forged. Lena gifted me a pendant, crafted from a rare stone found in the forest, as a symbol of our partnership and the strength we drew from each other. I, in turn, promised to protect her in the forest with every ounce of my being. As dawn broke, the forest was cloaked in an eerie stillness. The collector and his followers, armed and determined, approached the forest's edge. Lena and I, along with the villagers, stood ready to defend our home. The battle that ensued was fierce, with both sides employing cunning and brute force. My deep connection to the forest guided my actions, allowing me to anticipate the collector's moves and counter them effectively. Lena's knowledge of herbs and potions provided crucial support, healing wounds and boosting our allies' strength. The guardian spirit's presence was felt throughout the battle, lending an otherworldly power to our efforts. The climax of the battle occurred at the stone circle, where the collector attempted to harness the forest's magic for his own gain. Lena and I confronted him, our combined strength and determination pushing back against his dark ambitions. The ground trembled, and the air crackled with energy as the final confrontation reached its peak. In a moment of clarity, I remembered the Guardian's teachings about sacrifice and balance. I realized that to truly defeat the Collector, we needed to disrupt his connection to the forest magic. With a surge of determination, Lena and I performed a ritual to sever the Collector's link, using our combined knowledge and the forest's power. The ritual unleashed a powerful wave of energy, overwhelming the Collector and his followers. The forest itself seemed to rise up in defense, with trees and vines entangling the invaders and driving them away. As the energy subsided, the silence that followed was profound, broken only by the sounds of nature reclaiming its territory. Lena and I stood victorious, our bond stronger than ever. The forest, once threatened by greed and ambition, was now protected by our unwavering dedication and the unity of the villagers. The air was thick with tension as Lena, the villagers, and I stood united against the Collector and his followers at the stone circle. The Collector's eyes gleamed with malevolent intent as he began to chant an incantation, aiming to harness the forest's ancient magic for his own dark purposes. The ground trembled beneath us, and the energy in the air crackled with power. Lena and I exchanged a determined glance, knowing that this was the moment we had been preparing for. We couldn't allow the Collector to succeed, as it would mean the destruction of everything we had fought so hard to protect. With a deep breath, I stepped forward, my voice steady and commanding as I called out to the Collector. "You have no right to this land or its magic," I declared, my voice echoing through the clearing. "Leave now, and we might spare you." The Collector sneered, his eyes filled with contempt. "You are but a simple hunter, and you think you can stand against me? I will take what is mine, and no one can stop me." As the Collector resumed his incantation, the ground split open, revealing a chasm of swirling energy. The villagers recoiled in fear, but Lena and I stood firm. We began our own ritual, drawing upon the knowledge and power we had gained from the Guardian and the forest itself. Our voices harmonized, creating a resonance that countered the Collector's dark magic. The battle that ensued was nothing short of cataclysmic. The forest seemed to come alive, its trees and vines reaching out to ensnare the Collector's followers. The air was filled with the sounds of clashing forces, explosions of energy, the cracking of tree branches, and the shouts of combatants. I moved with precision and purpose, using my skills as a hunter to outmaneuver my enemies. Lena, armed with her potions and herbs, provided crucial support, healing the wounded and boosting our allies' strength. Together, we formed an unstoppable force, our bond and dedication to the forest guiding our actions. The villagers, inspired by Lena and my bravery, fought with renewed vigor, determined to protect their home. The turning point came when I remembered the Guardian's final lesson about sacrifice. I realized that to truly defeat the Collector, we needed to use the forest's power in a way that honored its ancient wisdom. With a surge of determination, Lena and I combined our energy, channeling it through the stone circle. As our voices rose in unison, a beam of pure, radiant light erupted from the stone circle, enveloping the collector. His scream of rage and agony echoed through the forest as the light consumed him, severing his connection to the forest magic. The chasm of swirling energy began to close, and the ground stabilized beneath our feet. In the aftermath, the forest fell silent. The air cleared of the oppressive darkness that had threatened to consume it. The collector's followers, realizing the futility of their efforts, fled into the night, leaving Lena, the villagers, and me victorious. The stone circle, though scarred from the battle, stood as a testament to our courage and resilience. Lena and I embraced, our hearts filled with relief and gratitude. We had faced our greatest challenge and emerged triumphant, our bond stronger than ever. The villagers gathered around us, their expressions a mixture of awe and admiration. Irina stepped forward, her eyes shining with pride. "You have done what many thought impossible," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "The forest is safe because of you. You are true guardians of this land." I felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that our sacrifices had not been in vain. The forest, now free from the collector's malevolence, seemed to breathe easier, its natural balance restored. As we stood together in the moonlit clearing, I knew that our journey was far from over. There would always be challenges to face and mysteries to unravel, but I was ready to face them with Lena by my side. With the collector defeated and his followers scattered, a profound sense of peace settled over the forest. The once ominous energy that had hung in the air was replaced by a calm serenity. Lena and I stood together in the clearing, the stone circle behind us glowing faintly with residual magic. We had emerged victorious, but the journey had left us changed in ways we were only beginning to understand. The villagers, now safe from the threat of exploitation, gathered around Lena and me, expressing their heartfelt gratitude. They offered gifts of food and supplies, a tangible symbol of their appreciation and newfound unity. Irina, the wise elder, led a small ceremony to honor the sacrifices made and to celebrate the restoration of balance to their beloved forest. In the days that followed, Lena and I dedicated ourselves to repairing the damage inflicted during the battle. The stone circle, a crucial source of the forest's magic, required careful restoration. With patience and reverence, we worked to mend the cracks and revive the ancient symbols that had guided us through our trials. As we toiled, we felt a deep connection to the guardian spirit and the land we were sworn to protect. My cabin, once a solitary refuge, became a hub of activity and learning. Villagers visited regularly, seeking advice on how to live in harmony with the forest. Lena and I shared our knowledge freely, teaching others the importance of respecting the natural world. The forest, in turn, seemed to thrive under our stewardship, its flora and fauna flourishing like never before. As the seasons changed, the forest continued to reveal its wonders. Lena and I discovered new plants with healing properties and encountered creatures thought to be mythical. Each discovery reinforced our commitment to our role as guardians. Our bond deepened with every challenge we faced, and our partnership became a beacon of hope for the entire village. One evening, as we sat together by the fire, Lena turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "We've come so far," she said softly. "I never imagined we would achieve so much. But there's still so much to learn, so much to protect." I nodded, my eyes reflecting the firelight. "You're right. Our journey is just beginning. The forest has given us so much, and it's our duty to continue honoring it." The conclusion of our story was not an end, but a new beginning. Lena and my dedication to the forest and to each other created a legacy that would endure for generations. The village, once plagued by fear and uncertainty, now thrived under our guidance. The forest, a living testament to our sacrifices and resilience, stood as a symbol of the delicate balance between humanity and nature. Years passed, and the forest continued to flourish under Lena and my stewardship. Our legacy as guardians became the heart of local folklore, inspiring future generations. I, once a solitary hunter, had found my true calling and a partner with whom I shared a deep, unbreakable bond. The forest, with its ancient wisdom and boundless beauty, stood as a testament to our courage and sacrifice. In the quiet moments, I often reflected on our journey, grateful for the path that led me to protect and cherish the land I now called home. Lena and my story reminds us of the importance of respecting and protecting the natural world. Our journey shows that with determination, unity, and reverence for the environment, we can overcome great challenges and restore balance. Share this story with friends and family to inspire others to appreciate the beauty of nature and the power of cooperation. If you enjoyed my tale, click to see the next story or video on your screen and explore more captivating adventures and lessons.